Imagine waking up one morning and realizing you might have just been replaced. Not by a teammate, not by an opponent, but by an entire era. That's the story the internet is running with right now about Aya Wilson and Team USA. One of the most dominant players women's basketball has ever seen. A 4-time MVP, multiple-time champion, the face of the W for years, and suddenly people are whispering that she's being quietly pushed out of the national team picture while Caitlin Clark steps straight into the spotlight. On paper, that sounds wild. Aya has the rings, the trophies, the statue, the Nike signature shoe. Caitlin is the rookie-turned-phenomenon whose name sells out arenas and blows up ratings overnight. Put those two storylines in the same room, throw in new Team USA camp invites, and you get one brutal, viral conclusion. Aya got kicked out. Caitlin took her spot. But is that what really happened? Or just the version that generates the most outrage? From unquestioned queen to shared throne. For years, Aya Wilson wasn't just a star, she was the WNBA. She led her team to titles, stacked MVPs, anchored Team USA, and became the go-to name whenever anyone talked about women's basketball. If the league needed a face, a spokesperson, a walking highlight reel, they called Aya. She wasn't just on the mountaintop, she built half of it. Then Caitlin Clark arrived. Overnight, Indiana Fever games turned into events. Every arena she stepped into suddenly sold out. Clips of her pulling up from the logo, dropping 30-foot threes, and slinging cross-court passes flooded everyone's feed. She didn't just join the league, she brought millions of new eyes with her. For the first time, the phrase "face of the league" didn't automatically belong to Aya. It became a debate, the decorated veteran with rings and respect, versus the rookie whose mere presence sends TV numbers through the roof. The league didn't just have two stars. It had a storyline. And once the cameras locked onto that storyline, everything else started spinning around it. The shoe drama that lit the fuse. If you want to see where this rivalry stopped being just about basketball and started turning into a culture war, look at the sneakers. When news broke that Caitlin was lining up a massive Nike deal, fans immediately asked, how does the rookie already have a mega shoe on the way when Aya, a proven champion and multiple-time MVP, still doesn't? To some people, that sounded like business as usual. Caitlin's selling out arenas, breaking viewership records, and drawing in casual fans. So of course brands want to lock her in fast. To others, it felt like a slap in the face. Here was yet another example, in their eyes, of a black woman who had done everything right being overshadowed in the business side of the game. The conversation shifted from who deserves a shoe to who gets rewarded first and why. When Nike eventually announced Aya's own signature line, the Aone, it was a massive moment. But instead of calming the discourse, it just gave people more fuel. Now everything had to be compared. Who got more money? Who got the louder marketing push? Whose shoe sold out faster? Aya, who never bites her tongue about race, respect, and double standards, spoke openly about how it boils her blood to see black players build the league and not always get equal shine. She never said this is Caitlin's fault. But once those quotes were out there, the internet dragged Caitlin into it anyway. Caitlin tried to do the right thing. She acknowledged privilege, showed love to the players who came before her, and didn't pretend she'd built the league alone. But by then, it didn't matter. The story had already hardened. To some, Aya was the truth teller calling out unfairness. To others, she was the bitter veteran attacking the new star. The rivalry wasn't just about who scored more. It was about race, money, and who gets the spotlight when the floodlights finally hit. Special whistles versus ref-proof range. Once people decide they don't like you, every part of your game becomes a crime. That's exactly what happened with the way some fans started talking about Aya's playing style. Now let's be real for a second. Aya Wilson is not just good. She's terrifying. She lives in the paint. She blocks shots. She bullies defenders under the rim. She dominates on both ends. There's a reason she leads the league in blocks, points, and rebounds at various points of her career. But if you scroll certain corners of social media, you'd think her entire stat line is built out of free throws. Fans started tossing around one phrase over and over: special whistle. According to them, Aya doesn't just get fouled. She hunts fouls. They complain that every bump, every hand check, every contest turns into a trip to the line. They roll clips of her falling, flailing, looking toward the ref, and use it as proof that she's gaming the system instead of just hooping. Is that fair? Depends who you ask. Her supporters point out that she's a physical forward in a league where defenses constantly swarm her. They argue that if you're that dominant, of course you're going to draw fouls. That's what happens when teams literally don't know how else to guard you. But the critics don't care about nuance. To them, Aya is the poster child of WNBA whistle culture. Where star players get calls others don't, the game stops every 30 seconds, and the scorer's table is basically a revolving door. Now, compare that to how people talk about Caitlyn. Her entire brand is ref-proof offense. She pulls up from the logo. She hits step-back threes from places that mess with physics. She snakes around screens, stops on a dime, and knocks down shots so deep even the ref is just staring like a fan. You can't blow a whistle on a ball that's already splashing through the net. Her supporters love that. They say she doesn't need special treatment. She doesn't need friendly whistles. She doesn't need to bait contact. And to be fair, a lot of clips show her taking hits, finishing anyway, and running back on defense without even looking toward the officials. When you throw international basketball into the mix, this difference becomes a central argument. FIBA refs, especially at the highest levels, are known for letting physical play go. They don't care about your shoe deal. They don't care about your WNBA legacy. They don't care if you're the MVP. They're not stopping the game for every arm bar and bump. So internet analysts take that, mix it with their own feelings, and come up with a very simple, maybe too simple, conclusion. Aya's game is perfect for the stop-and-go world of WNBA officiating. Caitlyn's game is perfect for any court, anywhere. Is that the full truth? Of course not. But when has the full truth ever beaten a clean, dramatic narrative on YouTube? The camp list that felt like a verdict. USA Basketball announces a senior national team camp at Duke, a key step toward building future World Cup and Olympic squads. The list is stacked: established stars, rising names, and for the first time in this setting, Caitlyn Clark. To Caitlyn's fans, this is the moment they've been waiting for. After the 2024 Olympic snub, this invite feels like a correction. A sign that USA Basketball accepts she's not just a rookie with hype, she's part of the program's future. Media headlines start talking about the new era and passing the torch. And even if the roster isn't final, the framing does its damage. People start reading between the lines and asking one question. If this is the new era, where does that leave Aya? It almost doesn't matter whether Aya's name is technically still in the larger pool, or whether veterans are being cycled in and out for different windows. What matters is what it looks like. On social media, it looks like the torch being yanked out of Aya's hands and dropped into Caitlyn's. That's all some creators need. Suddenly your recommendations are full of titles like Aya Wilson kicked out of Team USA. USA chooses Clark over Wilson. Aya blames Caitlyn. None of that is an official statement. But in the age of algorithms, what feels true spreads faster than what is true. Two players, two perceptions. From here, the internet splits the story into two emotional scripts. In Aya's version, she's exhausted. She's spoken about how the discourse around Caitlyn got too gossipy, too toxic, too personal. She's admitted that the constant race talk, the hate, the criticism, and the way some arenas felt unsafe at times wore her down. When she vents or pushes back, some fans see a superstar telling the truth about what it's like to carry this league as a black woman. Others just see someone hating. Everything she says becomes evidence for whichever side people already believe. If she talks about privilege, they say she's bitter. If she asks for respect, they say she's insecure. If she calls out negativity, they frame it like she's taking shots at Caitlyn again. In Caitlyn's version, she looks like the calm in the storm. When asked about Aya, she praises her. When asked about drama, she dodges it. When asked about pressure, she smiles it off. Her brand is head down, just hoop. The result: Aya gets cast as the emotional veteran. Caitlyn gets cast as the unshakable prodigy. The more that image repeats, the more fans convince themselves that Team USA didn't just make a basketball decision. They made a character decision. So, was Aya actually kicked out? Here's the part nobody wants to talk about, because it doesn't fit neatly into a title. Right now, there is no official statement saying Aya Wilson has been permanently kicked off Team USA. She hasn't been banned. She hasn't been blacklisted. She hasn't been erased from the program. What has happened is this. Caitlyn Clark has stepped into the senior national team picture, finally getting invites and opportunities that fans have been screaming for. Team USA is clearly looking ahead to the next generation, bringing in younger stars and letting them compete in camp. The era of automatic veteran spots is slowly fading. And in that shifting landscape, some fans looked at one camp list, one invite wave, one media narrative, and decided it meant something permanent. Because that's how we tell stories now. We don't wait for the full context. We don't read the fine print. We don't care about long-term planning or rotation, or how many windows FIBA competition actually has. We look at one moment in time and turn it into a verdict. So did USA Basketball wake up one morning, slam a big red button, and officially kick Aya out while pointing at Caitlin and saying, "You're the reason"? No. Did years of fan wars, race conversations, shoe deals, privileged debates, MVP races, and media spin create the feeling that this is exactly what's happening? Absolutely. And that feeling is powerful enough to move the culture all by itself. The real question isn't about Aya versus Caitlin. At the end of the day, this might not actually be a story about who deserves a roster spot more. It might not even be about who's better at basketball, or whose game fits FIBA rules, or whose name sells more jerseys. It might be about something way bigger, and way messier. It's about what happens when a league built on the backs of black women finally starts breaking into the mainstream because of a player whose popularity taps into a different audience. It's about how brands, networks, and organizations try to juggle loyalty to the people who carried them here, while chasing the explosive growth they've always wanted. It's about what gets rewarded when women athletes speak up, and what gets twisted when they do. Aya Wilson has done everything you're supposed to do. She dominated. She led. She spoke up. She fought for equity. She represented her country. She demanded more from her league, and from the people who profit off it. Caitlin Clark has done everything you're supposed to do, too. She balled out. She stayed mostly out of drama. She praised people who came before her. She used her platform to talk about privilege instead of pretending it doesn't exist. She brought millions of new eyes to the game. In a healthy world, those two storylines would fit together perfectly. The established queen and the new superstar would team up, sell out stadiums for Team USA, and pull the rest of the league up with them. And honestly, that might still happen. But in the version the internet likes to tell, there can only be one face. One hero, one villain, one coronation, one exile. So anytime a camp list leaves room for interpretation, anytime a quote can be read as a shot, anytime a roster decision looks like it favors one side over the other, the same conclusion comes roaring back. She got pushed out. She got replaced. She got kicked off. She's blaming her. Whether it's true or not doesn't even matter. What matters is how many people believe it. Where this really leaves Aya and the viewer. So did Aya Wilson deserve to be kicked off Team USA? That's the wild part. She hasn't officially been kicked off anything. What she has done is live through two of the messiest years in women's basketball history. Years where every move she makes gets cross-examined, not just as a player, but as a symbol. She's carried the pressure of being the best, while constantly being told she's not popular enough. She's watched a younger player become a global phenomenon, while people rewrite her own legacy in real time. She's had her genuine frustrations twisted into clickbait, and her advocacy turned into accusations. And now, she's watching as millions of people talk about her like she's already gone. Meanwhile, Caitlin Clark is walking into the very space I once stood alone in, with all the weight, all the pressure, and all the haters that come with it. If history repeats itself, it won't be long before her every quote, every miss, every bad game gets spun into a narrative that says she never deserved the throne either. That's the real pattern here. We don't just build up women athletes. We chew through them. So maybe the question isn't whether Aya Wilson truly deserved to be kicked out of Team USA. Maybe the real question is this: why are we so eager to decide who gets kicked out of our hearts every time someone new walks in? Because until we figure that out, the drama won't stop, no matter who's wearing the jersey or who's holding the gold. And if there's one thing this whole saga proves, it's that the game on the court is only half the story. The rest of it is being written, right now, in comment sections, group chats, front offices, and videos exactly like this one.